A Black executive perspective now presents Need to Know with the award-winning hyphenated Dr. Nsenga Burton. Dr. Burton, what do we need to know?
Good morning and welcome to Need to Know with Dr. Nsenga Burton. I am she. Today I am here to talk to you about the information on the web, or I would say there is some discussion on the web about where Black folks, right? We know that you all are upset about Kamala Harris not winning the election, and you should be participating in these protests. You should be organizing the protests, all the things. And I would like to address the fact that we are not your property anymore. I would like to address that. So there was a time for fairly recent history when Black people collectively, that would be the advocates, the activists, those who are on the right side of history, not all of us, but many, were marching and being beaten down by the police. There was a time when we were, and actually it's been the last 20 years, it's been longer than recent history, but whatever, where we were like, hey, listen, our voting rights, which means your voting rights, are going to be in trouble. Our civil rights, which means your civil rights are going to be in trouble. Our reproductive rights, which mean your reproductive rights are going to be in trouble. We've been screaming it, from the top of the mountains to the lowest hills, and received very little support, collaboration, collective action from other groups that benefited from all of the work that was done primarily by African Americans, but certainly I would say multicultural groups that are on the right side of history as well. But historically have been, the torch has been carried by Black Americans, so that we have all of these rights that everyone gets to enjoy. Like we're not like other groups that you can look at around the country where it's like, oh yeah, we want civil rights, but just for us. Oh yeah, we want voting rights, but just for us. Yeah, y'all got to get your own. No, we're going to form a whole another party, and we're going to have like 25 different parties, and we're just going to each, try to figure out. We're not doing that. We don't want reproductive rights just for us. We want everything for everybody. We are humanists. We uplift everyone with our activism. So when all of those things went away, in some shape or form, when millions of us were disenfranchised by at best racist voting laws, and at worst just very persnickety voting laws that targeted very specific demographics, especially us, based on how we historically have voted, at least in recent history. There was very little fanfare outside of the Black world when those reproductive rights were hit. Very little fanfare. I mean, there's a Black woman now on she's brain dead, and she's being forced to carry a baby because she was 9 weeks pregnant when she developed blood clots in her brain. She's a registered nurse. She's in the hospital where she works. She is brain dead. And there has been little fanfare around the fact that she has been made to to continue on in this world, even though she's effectively dead. Because of a 9-week fetus that is in her, a 9-week old baby that is in her body. The baby's older now, obviously, because she's been on life support for 3 months. Very little fanfare. But we warned you about maternal mortality. We warned because it was happening to us in ridiculous rates. Like an RN, she's a registered nurse and is now on life support. Okay, in the hospital in which, and guess whose family is on the hook? Her family's on the hook for the cost. The state is not covering it. The family is covering it. They have to pay for it. All right. So anyway, we've been telling you all these things for so many years, and we are tired of telling you. We have organized protests and done protests, and some of them have been ridiculously effective, and others have not. They've really just resulted in our incarceration, abuse, and just more punitive laws and measures being passed for us. So I say all of that to say, when you're like, where are the Black people? I feel very safe saying, well, where were you? And we have fought historically for everyone's rights because we've been fighting for us. As you know, we're fighting for you too. So we have the right to not participate in these protests because we know what will happen to us. Now they deported a Black man born to a father. His father was Jamaican, served in the service for 20 something years. He's born on a military base. Has lived in the United States his whole life. They deported him to Jamaica. Why? What was his crime? He couldn't pay his rent, was put out of his house, went back to get some of his things, was reported for trespassing, put him in jail. Initially, they were going to send him to ICE, even though he's an American. They're like, oh, you were born on a military base. You're not an American. So now we're just going to change the Constitution. We change the rules. We're just doing whatever the hell we want to do. Right. And first they were trying to put him on a plane in Nicaragua. And he was like, I'm the only English speaking person. I don't speak Spanish. So he said, hey, I'm an American citizen. Took him out. Now, then they put him on a plane to Jamaica. He's in Jamaica, has never been there his entire life. Whole family has immigrated to the U.S. So he doesn't even have family there. Have you heard about this? Oh, okay. Probably not. Yeah, no. Okay. So we have other shit we're dealing with. Sorry. Just trying not to cuss Tony. But we have other stuff that we're actually dealing with that's happening in real time that we are actively organizing around. And being part of protests for people, many of whom, and we know it's not everybody, but many of whom voted for 47 and knew exactly what was going to happen. And now that it's happening, you just didn't think it was going to happen to you. And now you see that they just don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about law and order, the rule of law, none of that stuff. They don't care. Well, we knew they didn't care about police officers at the insurrection, right? So we already knew that. But you all don't care about that. You're just interested in law and order. And when this president sent the Marines in, and not to be stereotype Marines, but I always call them the fifth dimension, right? Because I don't know if you met the Marines. And again, I come from a military family. I'm just going to say the Marines are different. And they are sent in to seek and destroy. That is their mission. I call them the killers. I know one of my cousins hates it. I don't care. They're the killers. If you want something done right the first time, you send in the Marines. If you want somebody eliminated the first time, you send in the Marines. That is who 47 is sending to people who are protesting ICE in Los Angeles. That is who he's sending. So I say all that to say, we're not going to be a part of that. Y'all not going to put us in jail. We got real shit we're working on. We're trying to get our rights back so that you can have some again. And we are trying to mobilize and work around some of these issues that are happening in our community that need our attention. And so we are putting us first for the first time ever. We're putting us first, not the whole humanity, the whole country, other folk. We're putting us first. And so we're not going to do that. And you don't get to tell us that. And rooted in you thinking you can tell us what to do is white supremacy, is sexism, is racism, is misogyny, is all the things. We're not going to cater to your paternalism and the idea that you think that you can tell us what to do, who to vote for, and that we're on the wrong side because we're not, we may or may not be, because many people are pro-Israel in our community, but, we're not with what's happening in Gaza, or we're not, 100% behind certain things that are happening. Black people know, as Professor Crunk, and if you know who she is, look her up, says, we know the difference between bad and worse, which is why we were trying to warn you. And why many of us voted, including some people who have historically been Republican, voted for Kamala Harris. All right. Now, you learn a hard lesson. You're just going to learn what we've already been dealing with for almost 400 years. So that's all I got. I got the Kanye shrug. Don't know what to tell you, but you don't get to tell us what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. We are in complete possession of our minds, our moral compass, and we get to decide when and how we want to protest, stand up for, or fight for the rights of all Americans, as we have done throughout history. And with that in mind, I want you to have a wonderful day. Make sure you tune in next week to Need to Know with Dr. Nsenga Burton. And, of course, to a Black Executive Perspective podcast, an award-winning podcast that gives you many sides of all of the issues. All right, so I will see you soon. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
A Black Executive Perspective.